Okay, let's look at the second part of this test review. This question is about area of a triangle. On the test breakdown, it says something about area. Let's see if I can find it. Here you go. But this is talking about a rectangle instead of a triangle. So it'll be similar, but it will be about a rectangle instead of a triangle. Well, you know the area of a triangle is 1440 centimeters squared. The base is 5 times what the width is. I'm a liar, not the width. It says the height. Excuse me. What is the height? And so then you're actually going to look for the height. So what do you know about area of a triangle? Well, that's 1/2 base times height, and that's going to equal 1440. Well, what is the base? The base is 5h, so it's going to be 1/2 times 5h times another height, and that will equal 1440. So that's going to be 5/2 h squared equal 1440. So we're just going to solve this. We can get h by itself, multiply by 2/5. And you get h squared is 576. Square root both sides. And that gives you the height is 24. The height is 24, and then the base, which they did not ask, is 120. You could even double check to make sure it's right. 120 times 24 divided by 2, 1440. Okay, number 2, what is an equation of a quadratic with this vertex? You have lots and lots of answers. The easiest thing to do would be to write it in vertex form, though. You could have any number here. I put A on the answer key, but just pick one, like maybe 4. So it's at 5, -3. So let's say x, we change the sign here, -5 squared, that goes to the right 5, down 3 will be a -3 at the end. Very similar here with the vertex of -6, 4. Don't forget it is an equation, so you have to have a y equals or you're going to lose points. Pick any number you want, -2. -6 this time will be a +6. Don't forget your square. +4 to go up 4. Finding the equation of the inverse. We're going to switch x and y and solve for y. I'm actually going to clean this up a little bit though before I start. X minus 4 squared is 6y. I'm going to add 2/3, so -12 plus 2/3. Hit math 1. Looks like -34/3. Kind of gross, but that's fine. Okay, so now we'll find the inverse. Just switch the x and y and solve for y. This will not be a function because it does not have any rule right here, like x greater than or equal to 0 or anything. So it doesn't have that. So I'm going to have plus or minus in my answer. So that's why there's an S there. There will be equations of the inverse. Switch the x and y. Solve for y. Just square root both sides. Don't forget your plus or minus. I get y minus 4 is plus or minus. This is longer than that. 6x minus 34/3. And then just add 4 at the end. And you could put it first, 4 plus or minus the square root of 6x minus 34/3, or you could put it after. You could put plus or minus the square root of 6x minus 34/3. Just make sure your root is capped, and then you can put a +4 on the outside if you want. That's really kind of sloppy. Talking about domain, the rule of domain is you cannot have a negative under the root. So all you have to do is look at all these choices and say, okay, x plus 11 has to be greater than or equal to 0 and solve. So x has to be greater than or equal to -11. That is the first domain. So the second domain will be x minus 11 has to be greater than or equal to 0. Because you can't have a negative. That'll be x greater than or equal to +11. For these two, they will have the same domain. It does not matter. The only thing I'm worried about is x plus 5 can't be greater, has to be greater than or equal to 0. So you subtract 5, and x is greater than or equal to -5. Okay, last page. This is like double matching, and this is just practice to get you ready for some of the other questions, like factoring and stuff. So basically, where's my pen? This is the question. And on double matching, they just want you to pick one of these that is the same and one of these that is the same. You could do this a lot of different ways. You could factor, or you could expand this and then go that way if you want. So we'll do one of each. If I expand this, I get x squared minus 2x minus 8. X squared minus 2x minus 8 is right here, so that is A. Oh, that's the B one, just kidding. Okay, or you could factor. Go ahead and factor this. You make your list for 8. You're looking for a positive 6, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. There it is. I need a positive 2 and a positive 4. So that's D if I factor it. So you can either expand or you can factor. This one will give me an x squared plus 2x minus 8. You double distribute. That will be this one, which means this one will have to be C. Okay, now how do you do the middle column? Well, how do we go from standard to vertex? That's called completing the square. So you just got to find the square that's closest. So you always look at the first two pieces. That's an x squared plus 6x, which means it's going to be a plus 3 square that it's closest to. Well, there's only two that have there's only one that has a plus 3, so you really don't even need to finish. So this is going to be B. But if you did want to finish, it would be an x plus 3 squared, and that would put a 9 in the corner, but I had to get to 8, which is why I subtract the 1. How about this? An x squared minus 6x, which one is it closest to? That will be the one with the minus 3, because there'll be a negative 3 on both sides. So this is D. This one will be a x squared minus 2x, which means a minus 1 on each side. So an x minus 1 squared would put a 1 in the corner. But I have negative 8, so I had to take away the 1, and I had to take away 8 more, so I had to take away 9. So that's an A. And then the last one would be the plus 1. Okay. Well, these guys. Use the graph to find the information. My hint to you is not to go in order. You do not have to go in order. Let's look for the x-intercepts. I can clearly see the x-intercepts, so I'm going to go ahead and go write those out as pairs. 1, 2, 3. So that is a 3, 0, and a 4, 0. Well, once I know the x-intercepts, now I'm going to go over here to factored form. Because if you know the x-intercepts, you know the factors by changing the signs. Don't forget to write the equation y equals when you do this. That'll be an x minus 3 and an x minus 4. Now, unfortunately, I cannot see the y-intercept. I might be able to guess and try to figure it out, but I don't have to do that because if I know the standard form, I know the y-intercept. And since I know factored form, I can now find the standard form by just multiplying x squared minus 4x minus 3x, that's minus 7x plus 12. And now I can clearly see the y-intercept is going to be at 0, 12. Okay, so these guys down here, this is my equation. What is the standard form? Standard form means just multiply. Don't forget your y equals or you'll be super sad. That'll be x squared plus 8x minus 2x is plus 6x minus 16. I don't want to do the vertex yet because I don't have the right form. I need vertex form for that. But I can do the y-intercept. That will be 0, negative 16. So I still need to get vertex, which means I need vertex form. So I'm going to complete the square. I have an x squared, 6 x's, so each side gets 3. And that is an x plus 3 squared. Put a 9 in the corner. To get to negative 16, I'll have to take away the 9. I have to take away 16 more, which is taking away 25. So that's the form, but I need the actual vertex, which is negative 3, negative 25. Okay, which form is this? That form is vertex form. What are the x-intercepts? Well, I can't tell from this. I would need factored form. So I'm going to go ahead and get this to factored form, which means I have to go to standard first. So first we need to go to standard, and then we can go to factored. So let's go ahead and double distribute. I'll take x minus 2 squared. That'll be x squared minus 4x plus 4. Where did that come from? X minus 2 times x minus 2. But you also have your minus 9. So I get standard form, x squared minus 4x minus 5. So now I need to factor that. Make your list for negative 5. 1 and negative 5 is what I needed. So factored form, don't forget your y equals, is x plus 1 and x minus 5. Once you know factored form, you know that x-intercepts by changing the signs, negative 1, 0, and 5, 0. Okay. That's the rest of that review. And I'll see you at 1 if you have some questions.